Hi, welcome to Sage Blue Tarot. Today is May 28th, 2021. I'm going to go ahead and start the collective reading using tarot cards, asking, what does collective need to know today? What does collective need to know today? What does collective need to know today? Cut the deck and let's pull some cards. We have the Ace of Wands reversed, the Wheel of Fortune upright, and the Ten of Pentacles reversed. So I'm seeing right now that there's a lot of passionate projects going on that you may be starting and you're not exactly sure where they're going to end up, but you know that you're down for it. You know, you started something and you feel motivated. You feel like even if people don't agree with you or they don't seem to get what you're doing, you're kind of just standing by your own side, right? You've got a lot of fire, strong energy. I'm kind of getting this sense of like, don't hurt yourself with that fire, you know, like don't turn, I'm getting the message of like, don't turn your passions against yourself, right? Like don't maybe like burn out, like don't do things that you don't enjoy doing anymore, and pretty much just prioritize focusing on only what brings you joy, right? Only what brings you this wisdom, this insight. Don't get caught up in doing everything at once and doing everything at 100%, because you're not going to have enough left for yourself, right? I feel like right now it's important to nurture these ideas and then to kind of implement them into your everyday, instead of I'm kind of getting this idea of maybe you're wanting to do everything in one day, right? Like you want to start something in one day, you want to finish it that same day, and you want to get the results in one day. But a lot of things just take time, right? They take patience, they take just like nurturing, you know, planting the seed, setting the intention with what you want to grow, and then watering it every single day, being diligent with taking care of it. And, you know, just kind of try to practice slowing down, because it's reversed, the Ace of Wands. I'm seeing like just a lot of fire energy that maybe could cause you to, I don't know, I'm kind of seeing like just temper this fire, right? Figure out how to make the fire last, right? How to make this fire, this idea last and be something that you can like just get the rewards of later on, right? But right now, just let the reward be the pleasure in creating, right? Don't get caught up in what people are saying or like what you're doing or just these questions. Like don't get caught up in that, right? Just kind of keep trusting yourself, because the Ten of Pentacles reversed, I'm seeing that you have such a big vision, and like I'm getting the sense of you want to leave a legacy, right? Like you want to leave something big and important, and maybe your name, you want it to be out there, maybe your face, you know, just want to start a creative endeavor and just kind of be known for something. But because it's reversed and that Ace of Wands is reversed, I'm seeing that these two come in together, and you're kind of, I don't know, I'm getting the sense of like just slow down and trust yourself, right? Don't start something for the wrong reasons, because it's not going to get to the fulfillment of that if you start for the wrong reasons, right? So maybe slow down and see with intention what you're creating right now, and to see if it's actually something you want to continue nurturing for the long term, because it's very easy to start things, right? And it's very helpful and beneficial to start things and see what we're actually passionate about and how we can incorporate it into our day-to-day lives and help us create the life that we want and design it that way. But because it's reversed, I'm seeing that maybe you're starting things for the wrong reason, and you have a lot of fire behind it because you want to get big, right? Like one day, just bam, get big. But I'm seeing that maybe you're not in it for the long term yet with these projects that you started, and kind of like take a step back and look at this honestly, right? Just look at this honestly and see if you're actually doing things for the right reason for yourself, right? Like, is this in alignment with your higher self? Is this alignment for like where you're supposed to be? Because I'm getting the sense right now that maybe you're being propelled to do something because of like the fame, right? Or the money, or just things that have nothing to do with what you are sharing, right? So kind of maybe just reel it in, scale it back, and ask yourself some important questions. You know, like, why am I doing this? Is this for them, or is this for me, or is this for both of us? Like, am I creating something here? Am I building a community? Am I sharing my time, my energy? Am I sharing my wisdom? Am I like what like just kind of scale it back and see if you're doing things for the right reason, right? Because I feel like you have all the potential to get there where you want, but maybe right now you're not sure what it is that you want, so you're kind of going gung-ho with like these overall missions. So just kind of try to fine tune and go into the details about what you're doing. The Wheel of Fortune came up, so I feel like maybe right now you're just feeling kind of like, well, let's just go for it. Whatever happens, happens. So let's go ahead and pull some more cards. The Seven of Wands reversed. The Four of Cups reversed. So I'm seeing that you just kind of feel like this sense of wanting change, right? The Four of Cups reversed, like you just kind of want something to happen, right? Because I feel like right now maybe you have everything you need, like everything is in place, but something is missing, right? So you're kind of, I feel like, in the journey of finding like what it is that you're missing, or like what it is that you want to fill this void, this space you created in your life. I feel like because you've made changes in your relationships, in your life, and how you live your day to day, now you have all this time and energy, and you don't quite know what to fill this time and energy, like what to do with this time, right? Like what to do with your attention now. With the Seven of Wands reversed, I'm seeing that maybe you're struggling with finding your footing, and you're kind of maybe feeling like overwhelmed, like you want to be like somebody else, but you're not sure how they're doing it, and you're not sure if you can do it, and so you're not. So I kind of sense just like a lot of changes are happening at once, even within your projects that you're creating. Let's pull some more. The Three of Swords upright. So I'm seeing that, I don't know, I'm getting the sense that maybe you're feeling, because you're being motivated by these reasons that aren't authentic to your true self, I feel like that's causing some kind of heartbreak. And maybe you've already started things that you know you don't actually want to go through doing, right? But I feel like you kind of have like something invested in it, you know, and it makes sense whenever we create something. It's very hard to just decide, you know what, I'm not going to water this anymore. Like I see growth, but it's not actually going to be something that I want to nurture for the long term. Maybe that's why I'm sensing some heartbreak with the Three of Swords upright. And yeah, I'm kind of sensing that you're just asking a lot of questions right now, right? The Empress reversed. So many cards are reversed. I'm seeing that maybe you just kind of feel unbalanced, and maybe you feel almost guilty about restarting again. That's what I'm getting the sense of. Like maybe you've restarted so much, and now this last recent reset, you've told yourself like, this is going to be it. Like you better commit to this. Like this better be it. But I feel like right now, what you need to do is just tune into yourself. And if yourself, your higher self, if you just get the idea, the information from within yourself that says like, hey, it's okay to restart, because it's okay to restart. It's okay to just start over again and again, no matter how many times it takes, right? Because we want to whittle it down to only creating what we actually want to create and that which we actually love, right? We don't want to put in our time and energy into doing these daily tasks only for some far away, maybe like success, right? Because then like, what are we doing in our day to day? If we're doing things that we don't love throughout our day for some later big payout, we're not going to be motivated enough to even reach that payout because we're not doing that which we love. So I feel like it's very important to just reel it back in and then whittle away all that you don't love from the projects that you're currently creating or making. The Empress reverse just kind of shows that you have all this power, you have all this like birthing energy, right? You're just like creating, but it's about like just reeling it in and letting the projects that are not there for you in the long term, like you can just tell, right? Just let them go, like allow for that to be released so you can just kind of mourn that, you know, grieve it. I feel like with the Three of Swords upright, I'm seeing that maybe there's a hesitancy because you don't want to go through the grieving process, right? Sometimes when we start projects, we kind of feel, you know, they're our babies. We kind of feel like, dang, this is mine. I don't want to get rid of it. Like, I don't want to not continue this journey with this project. But sometimes we know that we don't love it, so we have to let it go, or maybe it's good and important to just see that not everything lasts forever, right? It's very rare the things that do, and that which does is meant to, right? So if it's not meant to last forever, like that's okay, right? We cannot go through life dragging all these half-hearted projects expecting for greatness, expecting for all the visions to come with us, because we're dragging along these projects that we started maybe with a lot of passion and love and excitement, but over time we see that they don't actually fulfill us. They don't actually want to be something that we want to work on every day. And then we start to feel guilty about it. We start to feel like, oh, but like, what kind of person am I if I just give up on my projects? But just kind of see this as a creative project, creative process. You know, like, don't think that everything you start you have to finish. Like, no, like, this is a good time to kind of start and see what happens. Like, how do you feel after starting? How do you feel after implementing this into your life? The Tower reverse came up, so I'm sensing that maybe, yeah, that hesitancy. Like, you've already built something, you've already started something, right, in the wake of this, all this change that's been happening. But I feel, because it's reversed, like, you're just afraid of what you know you have to do, right? Some things just, it's okay to end things, right? It's okay to restart. And on the back, I'm seeing the 5 of Pentacles reversed. So I'm seeing that maybe you started these projects and all these wonderful ideas, right? You kind of started them, but you started them out of fear of loss, right? So I feel like maybe that's why it's kind of like tainted this entire kind of stage for you. Like, you've built these things, you started them, but only with the idea of success, of being included, of you being like, I don't know, I kind of sense that you started these things not realizing that they weren't in alignment with your highest self, right? I feel like you started them thinking like, well, I'm not going to be financially dependent on somebody else. Like, I'm not going to be, kicked out because I'm going to be living like this. And it's just kind of a good time, I think, to just reassess where you are, what you've started, what you actually love, and then the intentions behind everything you started. Because pretty much every card came up reversed except the Wheel of Fortune upright and the 3 of Swords upright. So that just tells me, and that's the major arcana, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Tower and the Empress. So I'm just seeing that you are afraid of restarting, but just know that there is no shame in restarting as many times as it takes. There's no shame in starting new projects. There's no shame in stopping projects that you've already started. Just because you started to walk down a certain path does not mean you have to finish that path because you started it. And if you don't, you're a bad person. Like, I feel like that's a belief system. It's okay to just go back down that path and go down a different path. It's okay to start a different path from where you are right now. So don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid of restarting. That's what I'm getting the message of. Like, don't be afraid of surrendering to this Wheel of Fortune energy, which is kind of telling you like, hey, I'm going to take you somewhere else. And you don't quite know yet, but you do need to let go of these things so you can even get on the ride. Yeah. And I'm just getting the sense of like, it's okay to grieve. I think that's an important part of the creative process, is just to take some time with the project you started and then see what you've learned from them. And in that way, process it, go along your journey with the wisdom of these projects that are no longer going to be a part of your life. You can't keep dragging them around if they don't bring you joy, right? And there's no point in continuing something that isn't building you up. 7 of Cups reverse on the back. It's just about surrendering to the mystery, and I feel like you're going to be getting so many more ideas of projects or interests that you want to start, or businesses or partnerships. It's okay. Like, definitely do that, right? But don't feel like everything you start, you have to finish, because there's not enough time in the world for that, right? That's very normal for us to whittle it down, right? I would say just focus on whittling it down to what actually makes you happy, right? And I'm getting the idea of like, maybe you started 7 projects at once and you feel like you have to put your energy into all of them. And then now you're starting to see like, well, I actually only really love this one, but you feel bad about like just not continuing with the 6 other projects you started. And I kind of feel like that's causing you a lot of heartbreak. So go through and just assess what needs to go. Right? Assess what you don't want to continue. Assess what you don't want to do every day. I think that's a good way to assess things. Like, ask yourself, do I want to work on this every single day? And if the answer is no, then that's not it. Okay. Like, that's not going to be it. Okay. So, and that of course varies. I'm not saying that that's going to work for everybody, but that's definitely a good way to go about it. If you don't love something and you don't want to do it every day, but you want it to grow, it's not going to happen. So I'm going to thank this deck. Thank you. I'm going to pull from the Trust Your Vibes deck, asking, what does collective need to know today? What does collective need to know today? What does collective need to know today? Meditate. So definitely take some time today. I feel like this will be really important too with the tarot cards pulled, just to meditate, get centered, get grounded, really into your body and aware of where you are, of who you are, tapping into your divinity, and then just asking yourself the important questions, you know, like maybe before meditating, set the intention of getting some answers in regards to your projects, in regards to what you're doing and spending your time on, and ask for some insight, right? And then see what comes up, see what insights come up. Learn. Maybe right now is a really good time for you to start something new. You know, if you're interested in learning something, there are so many courses and things online right now, and even in person, right? Just see what you're interested in growing mentally, intellectually, right? Like learn how to do certain things. Maybe because you started these projects and you found that certain projects require more skill sets, right? And you could maybe like find an interest in there that you're like, oh, I actually want to learn something. So kind of see what you're drawn to, and then make time for you to learn something new. That also makes life more fun, right? Having new skill sets, and then with new acquired skill sets, you have more tools to build something new that's more befitting of who you are. And listen to your heart. So definitely listen to your heart today and always. But I feel like today, because the Three of Swords came up during the tarot reading, I would definitely say like tune into what your heart is saying, right? Because I feel like there's grief in your heart about something, or maybe there's just, I feel like your heart is just talking to you about what it wants to do, about what it doesn't want to do, about what it's being, you know, like forced to do but it doesn't want to do. And it's kind of like talking to you, like trying to direct you, like, hey, we don't like that project, we do like this. We don't like that, we do like this. So definitely just tune into yourself today. On the back I'm seeing remember to breathe. So just breathe today. Just, you know, take a few deep cleansing breaths. We'll take some right now. That gets the energy moving. That gets more oxygen into your brain, to your body, and just kind of gets you thinking more clearly. So I'm going to thank this deck, and now I'm going to pull from the Angelarium Oracle of Emanations deck. What does collective need to know today? What does collective need to know today? Hasmed, Angel of Annihilation. So with this card, it just reminds me of the projects where, like, I feel like you started some projects that you're not passionate about, that you know need to go, and you kind of have this hesitancy about it. You kind of just don't want to. You're kind of thinking, well, I started it, I need to finish it. But that's just, I feel like that's part of our old way of thinking, right? Whenever we're like, I feel like we have a lot of belief systems set in place about, like, if you start something, you have to finish it. But in the creative realm, like, that's not true. Not with everything, at least, you know, like, if we have, you know, like, that's just not, I feel like there's just a reworking of belief systems. So maybe some belief systems have to go in order for new belief systems to come in, right? Some that are more supporting of your time and energy instead of, like, pushing you to do things that you no longer want to do. So Hasmed, Angel of Annihilation, the Unmaker. A terrible sight to behold, the void eating itself and making itself anew. That which should no longer exist is unmade by Hasmed's hands. There is something that needs to be removed. Look upon that which should not be and loose it from existence. Signs, a hood, an eclipse, an empty field. So I'm kind of getting the sense of, also with the eclipse that just happened, maybe you had some insight already on what you need to do, and you have kind of not been listening to it because, it's hard to, it's tricky too sometimes. But there's something already in your heart that you have to do, or a truth that maybe you don't want to face. And I feel like right now is a good time to kind of see what has been coming up. Like kind of look back, if you write, look back on your writing, see like if there's anything there that are giving you clues as to what you need to do, like at this moment in time and today. Aestabus, Angel of Divination. This card to me is about signs everywhere, right? The mystery of life that surrounds us and that which holds information, right? Everything holds information, and we can put a filter on of questioning, asking, well, what does life want to tell me today? Like, what do I need to know? And then seeing what you see in your physical surroundings, right? What insights come in whenever you put yourself in different spaces, like in nature, or focusing on clouds or on water or on earth, seeing what happens when you try scrying, meditating with a mirror. Just kind of tap into this realm today, right? I feel like that's going to be really helpful for making decisions moving forward. Sahakil, Angel of Sky. So definitely spend some time today just observing the sky, observing the clouds as they pass by, seeing if it's like a clear day, if it's gray, if it's raining, wherever you are when you listen to this. Just tune into the gases that surround us, and I feel like that'll give you a lot of insight into the big picture, right? I feel like sometimes when we can zoom in to the reality of like how small we are, right, in the grand scheme of things. Like if you zoom in, it's our life, and if you zoom out, it's the world, and if you zoom out, it's other worlds, and if you zoom out, it's galaxies, and just so I feel like it's important to ground down, to think about things that are bigger than us, right? And I feel like when we think about things that are bigger than us, we can go ahead and start to let everything else that is in alignment and that we don't want to keep like with us as baggage throughout our lives, even though we started it. Like we're not, I feel like there's a belief system of like us being bad parents to these projects, but I feel like that it just needs like a new belief system in there, because we're not bad parents for ending projects. It just means that we've learned the lesson that we needed from those projects, and maybe we can pick them up later on, but at the time, like, they just can't come with us. And Zukloff, Angel of Verdancy on the back. That card to me is so nurturing. So definitely get some time outside. If you have plants indoors, observe them. I feel like when you can tune into how nature is growing and how we're a part of nature, we can just learn a lot, right? We can learn to forgive ourselves. We can learn to process things that just need to be processed, and know that there's always going to be growth. Like we're always growing, even if we don't feel like we are, just like trees, just like plants, just like the seasons that change. Like we're also changing. We're also growing. And that's going to be it for today's reading. So I'm going to thank this deck, and I'm going to thank you as well for joining, and I will see you next time. All right. Bye. Hi, so now we're going to go ahead and move into the distance Reiki portion of the episode. I suggest laying or sitting in a comfortable position, but that is not necessary. Just be open to receiving Reiki healing energy. I suggest setting your own intention for the Reiki, or just allowing my intention to take place, which is always for your highest good. I'm going to go ahead and take 3 deep breaths with you. Let's go ahead and inhale. Hold and exhale. Again, inhale. Hold and exhale. And inhale. Hold and exhale. I will now begin sending Reiki. When you are ready, start to come back into your body and open your eyes. Welcome back. Thank you so much for showing up today. And I suggest drinking water since a lot of energy is moved during Reiki sessions. And I will see you in our next episode. Thank you and bye.